Starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Quentin Smith. Mississippi lawmakers are on standby to return to the Capitol on Monday. You may remember it's been a month since it became the center of a COVID-19 outbreak. Courtney Ann Jackson speaks with lawmakers and has more about how they feel about going back.
Ask lawmakers if they think it's safe to return to the state capitol after the outbreak that happened the last time they were there, and you'll get a similar answer.
We've learned our lesson.
I think we've learned from our past mistakes.
I just hope that we as grown men and women, responsible folk, learned our lesson.
A Monday return will be 1 week from the day that Representative Earl Banks was released from a 17-day hospital stay for COVID-19 and other complications.
Well, I found I had double pneumonia in both lungs. But it makes you concerned that even though I've had this, there's no guarantee that I cannot catch this virus again, which I do not want to do.
They're expected to return to handle the education budget that was partially vetoed by the governor. It would take a 2/3 vote to override that veto. But when it comes to the question of safety, Representative Tom Miles raises this question.
How can we send our children back to school and not go back and do our jobs?
Members say they believe folks will be more careful with not all working from the House and Senate floors and wearing masks this go around. But Representative John Faulkner tested positive after they left last time and never ran a fever. He thinks the temperature checks may have provided a false sense of security for some.
Once we walk through that door and get a good temp, we can't assume that everybody's okay. And I think that happened also, because you got your little sticker on your jacket, then we all good. and that wasn't the case.
Senator John Horn thinks there's another layer they could consider adding.
It'd be great if we had testing available on the day that we come back. And for anybody who wants it, if I were the Lieutenant Governor and Speaker, I'd make it mandatory.
Courtney Ann Jackson, 3 on your side.
This is not the time to be in first place. Mississippi continues to lead the nation in what is known as test positivity for the coronavirus. Of everyone who's taken a test this week, the average number of people testing positive is almost 26%, and the state has the 5th highest recorded case count per 100,000 people. Only Louisiana, Arizona, Florida, and the state of New York are ahead of Mississippi. Now, these numbers are part of the Johns Hopkins University and COVID tracking project. As for today, new COVID-19 cases in Mississippi moved past their 1,000 mark once again. The State Department of Health is reporting 1,036 new cases today, along with 23 deaths. There are nearly 1,200 people in hospitals all across the state. 337 patients are in ICU. Here in our viewing area, Lee County has the most new cases with 51. Union is reporting 39, Lowndes has 35, and Monroe County has 22 new cases. Lowndes County also reported the most deaths in our area today with 2. Mississippi state administrators and faculty have spent the entire summer working on a plan to bring students back to campus in the safest way possible. And today, MSU is welcoming students back on campus for the fall semester. The Panhellenic leadership is first to move in. Our Stephanie Poole speaks with a few students and tells us how things went during move-in day.
After an abrupt ending to her sophomore year, Katie Garrett Manor is glad to be back in her happy place.
I'm very excited to be out of my home.
She's one of the first in Chi Omega sorority to return.
I haven't seen all these girls in so long, so it's very great just to see everybody and be reunited and, just to be all together. It's very exciting.
While waiting for the rest of her friends to move in, Manor can't help but wonder how the school year will turn out as coronavirus numbers continue to soar.
I haven't been on campus environment, so it's obviously very exciting, and I hope that we get to stay a whole year, but whatever happens, happens.
Sophomore Marley Jones is unloading her car just across the street.
It was weird seeing everybody gone so fast, but I'm so excited for all my friends to be back, and I'm just excited to see how the school year will go with this new future.
Although some classes will be virtual, Jones sees it as an opportunity to connect with friends and stay safe.
Literally all my close friends are right next door, so even if we can't do date parties or go to that anymore, we can still make memories in the house. And I can't wait to meet the incoming freshmen, and I hope we do good with Rush this year. I know it's all virtual.
That was our Stephanie Poole reporting there. Now, all other residential housing will move in August 10th through the 15th. MSU's Department of Housing and Residence Life will continue to use appointment times to keep low traffic flow on campus. Well, if you aren't able to sign a year lease with your apartment, Hotel Chester in Starkville has a way to help. MSU students and faculty can sign up for a 3-month lease program from August until October. Hotel Chester is providing those in the program with dining services at a discounted rate. Services like internet, cable, and utilities are all included in the monthly rent. Owners say masks in and out of the lobby are required and daily temperatures will be checked. As of now, there are only 19 rooms available.
Help some people who aren't exactly sure what the outcome of all of this is going to be at the end of the fall semester. We're going to have to take their temperature every day and make sure that they're good, and if we find that there's a problem, we'll isolate them in a different room that doesn't have access to the building.
For more information and prices on Hotel Chester's housing program, just visit our website at WCBI.com.
Lots of sunshine today on our Friday as we close out the work week. A great sunset in the Columbus area and really everywhere else. Just some cirrus clouds there on the western horizon here as we got on into our Friday evening. We are now cooling down into the 70s. The outlier Tupelo still at 82 degrees. It's pretty warm out there, but if you live outside of the city limits, much cooler. For tonight, upper 60s, mainly clear. That wind is now calm across our region. Our first alert forecast, our helper tonight, we got DeSoto. Get ready for another warm one here. We start out by 10 o'clock, mid-80s in the afternoon, 96 degrees with the heat index around 100. So it's going to be a warm one. And we don't really expect a lot of active weather here on our Saturday across the Twin States, but we do have some rain in the forecast. We'll show you that coming up.
Well, it's a service you may not think about COVID-19 impacting, but your garbage pickup could be delayed. Golden Triangle Waste Services is alerting residential customers to not be alarmed if their garbage isn't picked up on its usual schedule. Customers should put their garbage cans out on their usual collection day, but it may not be picked up until the next day. Several workers are out sick with the coronavirus or quarantined because of the virus. The staffing shortage and truck maintenance are causing the delays. Now again, customers are encouraged to put garbage cans out on its usual collection day, but just know it could be another 24 hours before it's picked up. Students in the Tupelo Public School District will wait a few days before returning to class. The reason? Thermometers. The school district will begin classes on August 17th. They were scheduled to begin on the 12th. TPS is waiting on thermal temperature scanners to arrive. Now, most school districts are ordering scanners from the same vendor, and there's a delay. Administrators are now arranging arrival and dismissal times, creating double bus routes, and making students eat lunch in their classroom. One person is killed in a car crash in Lee County. The Mississippi Highway Patrol says the fatal accident happened on Highway 178 near Belden Thursday night. Investigators say a brown Nissan Altima was driving at a high rate of speed. Before troopers could stop the car, the driver lost control and drove off the road, crashing the vehicle. The victim has been identified as 25-year-old Alvazar Fears of Blue Springs. Fears was in the passenger seat during the time of this accident. Now, at this time, there's no word on the driver's condition. The Tupelo Police Department is investigating this accident. Charges are pending. A Tennessee man will spend 3 years in a Mississippi prison for a sex crime. On your screen is Nicholas Winchester. He was sentenced today in Oktibbeha County Circuit Court. He'll be on probation for 5 years and must register as a sex offender after being found guilty of sexual battery. The Milan, Tennessee man was indicted back in February of 2019. He was arrested in August of 2018. 3 men are arrested in what's being described as a large drug bust in Clay County. 35-year-old Lynn Roy Guilty and 38-year-old Steve Posley are charged with conspiracy to commit a crime. Clay County Sheriff Eddie Scott says investigators have been working on this case for several years. State and federal agencies, along with Clay and Lowndes County deputies, were there to serve the search warrant. 38-year-old Jamie Logan, who you see here, is also charged with conspiracy to commit a crime. More charges and more arrests are expected. And now turning our attention over to weather. Keith, what type of weather is in store this weekend?
Hot.
I knew it.
You know what we need for hot weather? We need some must-haves here. Sunglasses if you're going to be outdoors, a big glass of sweet tea, a big fan. Maybe if you're stuck indoors, find the barbecue grill too. Your full forecast is next.
WCBI First Alert AccuWeather Forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
We're rolling on into another summer weekend. What do we have to expect? More heat, more humidity. You will notice that definitely by Sunday, a little bit more tomorrow. Rain and storms likely each and every day next week, but no big weather system coming our way, no front and no tropical trouble at this point. Tomorrow in Pontotoc, we start out in the upper 60s, mainly clear. By late morning into the afternoon, notice how we skyrocketed into the upper 80s, low 90s, and mid 90s for highs here. So it's going to be a warm Saturday across the board, but we're only going to be in the mid 90s, and I want to show the comparison here. Record highs for tomorrow. Look at this, 109 in Columbus, 107 in Tupelo, 108 in Starkville. So that puts things into perspective. We're forecasting about 96 degrees. It could be 10 degrees hotter. It has been 10 degrees hotter, so it could always be worse. You factor in the humidity tomorrow, it will actually feel like 100 or so. As we get into Sunday, a little bit worse, probably more widespread low 100s. The humidity a little bit more noticeable as we get into Sunday versus tomorrow, but still pretty warm out there. Fairly quiet there in Vernon at Durham's Pharmacy this evening. That's our Alpha Insurance time lapse. And no big problems here across Mississippi or Alabama. There were some showers and storms near Birmingham today. Those have fallen away. And right now we have mainly clear conditions across our region. The Perseid meteor shower has actually started. It's going to peak next week, but we will have those storms and those clouds around. So if you're out tonight or tomorrow night, you may want to just look up, find a dark spot. You may see some meteors streak across the sky as early as tonight. Just play it by ear. For tomorrow at the golf course, warm as we mentioned, 80s, the 90s, but if you're out early, there will be some 70s, but it will be a pretty warm day for us here. Hour by hour, Saturday morning, upper 60s, low 70s as the sun rises. By midday, scorching heat, low 90s, return and mid 90s in the afternoon. We'll see some of those fair weather cumulus clouds across the region, much like what we had today. We don't think there's going to be any rain tomorrow. Pretty warm tomorrow evening, 80s, then some 70s. And it will be a warmer start Sunday morning, probably lower 70s versus upper 60s to around 70 tomorrow morning, but it's a wash here. It's going to be a warm and sticky day on Sunday. Notice how there's a little bit of green on the map. A better chance for some of those spotty showers and storms here as we get into our Sunday. So that's probably the best day if we're going to see any rain around here. As we get into next week, just that summer weather pattern here, daily storm and shower chances. Let's show you that with your AccuWeather 7-day forecast. Mid-90s Saturday, Sunday. Humidity comes back in. Temperature's not as hot next week, but there will be rain around. Some of you could get some pretty good downpours. Lows in the 70s.
It's the garden that keeps on giving in ways you might not imagine. Our Allie Martin has the story coming up after the break. Welcome back. A Tupelo man is growing food for a weekend backpack ministry in his garden. Our Allie Martin has more on the Joyner Neighborhood Project.
Jerry Thompson is an avid gardener who likes to do what he can to help others. That has led to a fruitful outreach that puts fresh vegetables on people's plates and helps feed hungry kids at the neighborhood school.
This small thing can impact people in a big way.
While at church a few years ago, Thompson learned about a Joyner Elementary food backpack program. He also happened to have a harvest of vegetables and an idea. Thompson built a vegetable cart to put produce in and an honor box for donations. The money goes to the school's backpack meal program. Kids then take the food home on the weekend so they don't go without.
People are not here to buy groceries from me. They're here to make a donation to the program to feed these hungry children. And I say, take some vegetables home with you as my thank you for contributing. So that's the basic way it works.
Thompson is recently retired and also helps at the school's Discovery Garden. Vegetables from that garden, which students help grow, are used in school lunches.
We really appreciate having somebody in the community who cares so much about our kids here that he would donate not only his time but the money that it takes to grow all these crops and vegetables so that our kids can have that extra money to go towards food for the weekend, because a lot of the kids that we get don't have those things at home, may not have all the food they need.
Thompson hopes his outreach encourages others.
Book of James chapter 1 says, be doers of the word and not just listeners. Don't just hear it. Put it to use in your own life and you know, help those around you. Get to know who are the poor, who are the needy, who are your neighbors.
Jerry Thompson was planning on giving his garden a rest this year, but when COVID-19 hit, he knew the need would be great. So when students come back to school, they'll have fresh vegetables for lunch and meals for the weekend. In Tupelo, Allie Martin, WCBI News.
Now, Thompson has raised roughly $500 so far this year for the Backpack Meal Program. To see when he'll have his market open, just check out his Facebook page. The high school football tour continues. The next stop checks in with the Moorville Troopers. See how the Troopers are getting ready for this season, coming up next in sports.
Following the Southeastern Conference's decision to go to a 10-game conference-only schedule, we finally know what matchups we can expect this season. Here's the newest matchups that we'll see for the Bulldogs, the Rebels, and the Crimson Tide in 2020. Mississippi State will head to Georgia as well as host the Vanderbilt Commodores, while Ole Miss will host South Carolina and go to Kentucky, and then Alabama will head to Missouri as well as host Kentucky. No official dates have been released for any of these matchups just yet. We'll have to wait and see where those are, but at least we know what we can expect for the 2020 season. The high school football tour continues on with the Moorville Troopers. Moorville is coming off of a tough 2019 season. The Troopers are stop number 47 on the high school football tour.
WCBI Sports 2020 High School Football Tour is brought to you by Itawamba Community College, Cannon Ford of Starkville, Monroe County Farm Bureau, Max South Broadband, and the Bank of Vernon.
My son's 18 months old, and if he's in that situation as a 16-year-old, I do the same thing all over again, because at the end of the day, you're more than a football coach. You're a father and a mentor and a teacher, so that was more important for me than anything.
Last season, Moorville's playoff hopes came to an unfortunate end. In Week 5 of the season, the Troopers' matchup against New Albany became heated, and following a mid-game fight, the Troopers elected to call the game. Later, the MHSAA placed the team under probation for the remainder of the season, ending any hope of postseason play. Now the Troopers enter 2020 hungry to wash away last year's end and make the playoffs in the program's 4th season in 4A.
It's been an uphill battle as far as kids believing that they can actually compete in 4A. And it's always going to be an uphill battle, but I got some young men that's willing for the fight right now. I tell them all the time, you know, you gotta keep climbing forward every day and keep climbing up, because if you're not, you're falling down the mountain. So you got to keep climbing for excellence. So I got some kids that are striving in that.
After losing 4 of their top 5 receivers, Moorville's receiving core will feature new faces. However, one familiar face remains for the Troopers, quarterback Dawson Phillips. Head coach Jimmy Young says he's confident in the offense with him at the helm.
They know they got a quarterback, and it fuels their energy to keep working hard, because they know they got someone that's going to get on the ball. So it's going well. We got a couple kids I'm really excited about. I think it's going to step in and do really well.
Every step you take and everything you do is being watched. Really, just how everybody. If the way you act is how the team acts. So you got to really keep the same attitude throughout.
Young says he thinks the unusual offseason has added fuel to the team's drive as they prepare for Week 1.
I had really good attendance, and they pushed for another and worked hard. And, man, at the end of the day, they were just ready to do something outside besides sitting in the house.
Moorville kicks off the season September 4th on the road against Kossuth. With the Troopers on the high school football tour, Chris Bolton, WCBI Sports.
WCBI Sports 2020 High School Football Tour with Moorville High School is brought to you by F&M Bank.
The high school football tour is officially under 15 stops, and it continues on this weekend with stop number 48, Shannon, on Saturday. It'll close out the weekend with stop number 49, the Itawamba AHS Indians, on Sunday. The Indians had a great 2019 season, coming off an undefeated regular season, so we'll check in with head coach Clint Hoots and company there. Then going in on Monday, we'll take a quick pit stop with 5A for stop number 50 with the New Hope Trojans. And then on Tuesday, we'll head back to 4A. We'll check in with stop number 51 Caledonia on Tuesday. Going into Wednesday, we'll head north and check in with stop number 52 New Albany. And then on Thursday, we'll visit with the Power Cats of Louisville for stop number 53. And then next Friday, we'll visit with the Lafayette Commodores for stop number 54. On Saturday, we'll check in with the reigning state champs in Oxford for stop number 55. And then stop number 56 will feature Saltillo on Sunday. Of course, for any of those stops you've missed, you can always go visit our website at WCBI.com. That's it for sports. More for you when we come back.
As you well know, warm weather for you weekend Saturday, Sunday, about 96 degrees plus or minus here. More humidity, a few spotty storms possible Sunday. Higher odds of rain as we get into next week. Typical summer weather. Find your air conditioner, find a cool spot, Quentin. You know the drill.
I'm going to be outdoors this weekend. Keith, what are some things I need to have? What are my must-haves for the weekend?
Sunscreen, cold beverage, hat.
Barbecue grill?
Hey, find one of those, cook it up.
That's a perfect weekend.
Invite me over.
Perfect weekend. Have a good weekend, everyone.